Za. October 6th.
It
Okay.
is. All right.
All right, are you ready?
I think we are. Oh, that's a shot of something. There we
Oh,
go.
there we
Good
go.
evening,
we
ladies
are.
and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Fun Show here at Big TV.
Big.
Very
You have
big.
anything to offer us this evening, Michael?
Well, Happy New Year. I beat you
Shana
to it.
Tova. What's the date?
Today's date is October 6th, 2014, in the studios of the Fun Show on Big TV.
Excellent. That's how we should do it every time.
And we wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Yeah. and
We
that's-
welcome you
Absolutely.
back, and we advise you that we will not be here next week because there is a holiday that Kiera doesn't like.
Nope, because it shouldn't be a holiday. It's offensive.
What is the holiday?
It's Columbus,
Columbus Day.
It should not be
Columbus
called
Day.
Columbus Day. There
Yes.
should never be a day to celebrate a
Leif Erikson Day.
Well,
horrible
they've
person.
done a lot to revise his characteristics.
Well, that's just garbage.
I know they
Making up stories doesn't make it true.
They got books, stories that he wrote about his experiences in the New World, which are kind of nasty.
Did he have pizza?
Did he have pizza?
Yeah,
then?
did he have pizza?
I don't know. When was pizza invented?
I don't know. They had something with corn that they made. That crowd that lived in Central America was
Well,
always cooking
corn.
things with
They-
corn.
well,
They
they,
had corn pizza made out of corn.
they didn't have corn before he
What
discovered.
are those corn
Before he
things?
discovered America.
He didn't discover America.
Well, I'll tell you something. Whoever did discover America didn't seem to discover corn and potatoes and tomatoes, and so
But roots,
So,
sweet potatoes.
who did the best job of advertising the New World? It had to be Columbus.
Okay.
We got a
fair,
police.
fair enough.
We got a
That's
police
it, though.
commissioner in New York who was here in Boston. He was,
Yes, he was here in
cop,
Boston,
and then he moved up.
in Los Angeles,
and then in London also.
in London. Probably
He's-
the most famous police commissioner of modern times.
And he says in the New York Times this week that police departments must dismiss bad officers.
What a novel idea.
I haven't heard that
kind of
too
a
often
no-brainer.
mentioned by a commissioner or a former police chief.
That's true. What a novel idea.
And we could say the same thing about teachers. We could talk about
Are police protected by a union like teachers are?
Yes, you betcha.
I
Okay.
had firefighters maybe. There were some bad
you're right.
apples there too, And civil service crowd, if they're bad, they should be let go. What the heck? Like us. Like
There should
all
be
of
some
us.
sort of board. I absolutely agree with you.
Well, the big news for today
Yes.
is that the Supreme Court has essentially, somewhat surprisingly, given its imprimatur to gay marriage.
Imprimatur?
Yes,
Define
they
imprimatur.
have put their stamp of approval on gay
Okay.
marriage.
In the Vatican, they'd like that word, imprimatur.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they don't like that decision in the Vatican.
No,
How
they
about
don't.
that?
I would say they don't.
In spite of the scary fact that 6 of the 9 members of that panel happen to be practicing Catholics.
You said that. I didn't.
I did say that.
Okay.
Yes, Mr.
But they made the right
O'Reilly said
decision.
that.
They made the correct decision.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, well,
Now, another thing that occurred in the last week, since
Okay.
we were on, was that the committee assigned to try to figure out what to do with the elementary school population explosion in Brookline has come to what strikes me as the curious decision to address the problem by enlarging the largest elementary school in Brookline.
And it'll continue to be if they go ahead with this.
Of course it will.
Yeah.
The devotion school, if they do what they voted to do, which ironically in very Brookline manner is the most expensive alternative that they considered,
Okay.
of course, the school will house 1,000 children in an elementary school.
How many do they house now?
About 820.
I worked in
Okay.
the junior high. I was teaching in the junior high that had almost 1,200. I was the elementary that I left had 900. I was teaching in a high school in Boston. These are all in Boston that had over 2,000 students.
Yes. But you
Somehow these kids were educated.
Michael, you were not in a system where the next largest school has 700.
Right.
and that other elementary schools have like 400. It is a ridiculous solution.
When
and-
I was in Boston, there were elementaries with 200.
So should they make another school? Is that your
Yes.
solution?
Yes.
Okay.
My solution is they should bite the bullet and build a new school if the only school they can expand is already the largest school in town.
Okay.
Could we?
Plus, I take personal offense at the fact that they're going to tear down the newest parts of the devotion school, which I happen to be the chairman of the planning committee on.
Would Steve?
Full disclosure.
Okay.
And everything that I planned and built there and is the newest parts of the school, that's what they're going to tear down.
Do you think Steve
That makes
Wynn
sense.
would have good ideas on this subject? I mean, he's going to build a $1.6 billion casino, maybe.
Well, Steve Wynn probably would kick into the school if we agreed to teach nothing but
Dealing.
dealing.
Yeah.
And throwing the ice and
Hotel management?
yeah.
No, just dealing.
No?
So-
That's all?
no, hotel management actually requires a real education.
Fair enough.
But
You
I
know,
mean, you're
you
saying
can, you can
Noted.
teach somebody to deal blackjack in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
everybody wants to live in Brookline.
Yeah.
You can't stop that. They keep getting more and more kids that want to go to moving in, and they're tearing down houses and redoing them, and they want to build up 300 apartments over there on the West Roxbury Turnpike. Where are we going with all this? And why are we saying that there are too many kids that will be sent to this school?
Who's saying that?
Well, you are. You're saying
no,
that,
I'm saying.
that the devotion is
We're-
getting too big.
Well, I thought where you were going is why are we saying there's too many kids in Brookline?
I'm not. No,
What I'm saying-
I would take in another. We already.
You would
What
just
I'm
take
saying-
everybody in.
What I'm saying is it is ridiculous to decide to enlarge the largest school in town.
Why
He
can't-
wants a second school.
Why
That's
can't
the
we
bottom
join
line.
up with Boston? We already have a lot of kids from Boston coming here.
Michael makes that suggestion every once in a while. He has a death wish.
Somebody's going to come and kill me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's possible.
Just a
we're
little.
broadcasting from Andover tonight. We are not over at the high school.
Okay.
We want to make it clear we're not at the high school at the present
What do
time.
you want?
That's
What do you
right.
want to bring up tonight?
Actually, we apologize for
rolling
not
with
being
it.
on the air for 12 minutes last week, and we hope that you're listening to us now.
And you missed the best 12 minutes last week when
Yeah.
you.
No, it was not the best 12 minutes because I was not here.
Well, that's.
Okay.
I
It's the
think
best
that's.
12
way.
minutes of that show.
Okay, fine.
That's good.
So
I
tell
like
me
that.
about the gentleman who took
She's
my.
easy to offend.
Richard was very good, and we
Was he?
liked him.
Richard
I heard he was
Hessman.
coming back.
He
He
may well come back.
I think
May-
that's great.
Yeah, we
He
give
may
him
well
a-
come
As long
back.
as he doesn't.
But he won't
as
be
long as
back
it's not
for
me.
about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Now it's 3 weeks.
Well, we're not on next week.
And then I'll be here the following
I
week.
know, but Columbus is kind of. I like Columbus Day.
Really?
I always like Columbus.
But whether you like it or not, we won't be here.
I know, but
Well, I can't understand why you
They
would
have a
like Columbus
parade.
Day.
they have a parade.
All right.
I think it's offensive that you like Columbus Day.
Columbus was who he was.
He was a horrible, evil, child-abusing, disease-ridden human being.
Things were different. Don't forget, we had all kinds
Oh.
of crazy institutions going on. Oh, me?
Yep, you.
Oh, okay.
Would
You're
you
kind
like
of
to-
a
would you like to-
wily fella.
Oh, that's good. You couldn't hear all the baloney I was
That's right.
living.
Think you didn't hear all the junk he was saying about Columbus that was opposite of my belief system.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new host and producer here, Oscar
I
Meyer.
just came on, thanks, Oscar Meyer.
Oscar Meyer. My baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R.
Okay.
All right, I have one last question.
Go ahead.
At this point. Can either one of you name either one of the candidates for lieutenant governor in the upcoming election?
No.
I got one name, a woman's name,
Yeah?
Polito.
That's half a name. Can you give her full name?
Started Polito?
No.
Oh.
Stoddard Polito.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, I like that name, Started.
You like that?
I went to school with a guy named Started. Nobody else ever
Well,
heard
I'll
of
tell
that
you.
name. But it's a Yankee name.
So few people know her that if you promised to vote for her, she'd probably change her name to Stoddard. and
What's
you'd be all
what's
set.
the other guy's name?
The other guy's name is Steve Kerrigan.
Kerrigan.
But this is, lieutenant governor is the appendix of Massachusetts politics. There's two candidates who are running statewide on the major party tickets, and I don't think 1 out of 50 Massachusetts residents can name both of them.
I had nothing.
You think Governor Patrick could name them? Maybe.
Yes, he could.
But,
Yeah.
but Brown wouldn't know their names.
He has no particular reason. Brown. Oh, you mean
Scott Brown?
yeah.
The carpetbagger who went to New Hampshire.
It surprises me that New Hampshire is giving serious consideration to Massachusetts sloppy seconds.
I'm not surprised.
Well, I like
I'm not
I like
surprised at all.
Shaheen, Miss Senator Shaheen. I like her.
What? Anybody
I have
from
no idea who that is.
Massachusetts?
she's the
New Hampshire
senator
people
of New
believe anybody
Hampshire.
from Massachusetts
Democrat.
is better than anybody from New Hampshire? Is that what it is?
I like
It
her.
makes sense.
Well,
she's
I
good.
don't believe it. And
Really?
besides, I'm going to
You
New
should.
Hampshire next week to restock my apple supply.
Oh, that's a
So
good
I think
idea.
This year's
Apple batch.
apple
Applesauce.
collection.
Well,
Apples
we
collection.
could always
What else do
toss
you
a
make
few to
beside,
Brown
applesauce?
if we were up there. Yeah, we could throw a few apples to Brown.
We could. Maybe he'd catch him, maybe he wouldn't.
Well, he might throw some back at us too.
I'd protect you, though, just so you know.
This is a great image. The two of us playing apple catch with Scott.
We live in a great country. Yeah, we do. Okay.
Anyway, speaking of countries, I recently visited my ancestral homeland,
Yes.
the Emerald Isle.
You said you were going to
did.
bring it up.
And I promised to bring you a few photographs of things.
Okay.
And if the control room is ready, they may throw a couple up and I'll say a few words about them.
Okay.
On your mark.
And if they, there we are. This was a lovely sign hanging by the side of the road. The county of Cavan, Ireland, was running a campaign called "This is Cavan," and their editors slipped up and they produced a sign that said, "This is Cavan, run for your life."
I still
was
don't
one of
think
the-
they slipped up.
It was one of the funniest things I
Sunday,
saw
October
along the
12th.
line. Yes.
I think it was intentional. I think it was an intentional.
Well, it was still very funny.
It was funny.
It amused me. I made my sister drive back just to take a photograph of it.
Your
Nice.
sister
Now
didn't
use
like
the
driving
photograph.
there, you said.
she
My
rode
sister
back. He
didn't
drove
actually
back.
drive. I paid extra to have her listed as a second driver, but every time I offered her the wheel, it wasn't the right moment. You know?
Understandable.
As our bus driver said, left is right and right is wrong. Is there another one, Doug?
left is-
Oh, there we are. That's my sister and I standing on an overlook on the
Yes,
Ring of Kerry.
beautiful.
She looks
in
terrific.
She
County
does.
Kerry.
I was thinking the same
A
thing.
beautiful place.
And so does the
Stopped
landscape.
on the stop
back
of the
there.
road.
Okay.
It was very windy. Here's the amazing thing about my trip to Ireland. You won't believe this, ladies and gentlemen. 11 days in Ireland, not one drop of rain.
You
No.
did mention that. That's
Not
just
one drop
crazy.
of rain. I kept
It's supposed to
saying
rain
to people,
in there all the
Well,
time.
you came back and it started raining. What's
I kept saying to
Yeah.
Irish people that I met, I said, and the weather's always like this, right? And they went, oh, no.
No, it's a little wetter
Not
than
like,
that.
not
yeah.
like this at all.
Okay.
So it was
It's some beautiful days.
it was a fun trip. This is my sister and I standing in front of an O'Riley coat of arms there, a quite nice one, in the Cavan County Museum. My great-grandfather came from Virginia County, Cavan, in 1849.
Do you have any gambling
Wow.
there in Ireland?
They do, in fact,
They have a
but the
casino.
interesting thing is the only casino I got anywhere near was on O'Connell Street in Dublin, and it opened at like 5 in the evening and stayed open till like 12 midnight. And the rest of the time, unlike any casino in this part of the world, it was closed.
Yeah,
Alrighty
you
then.
went to that famous theater in Ireland.
I did. I went to the Abbey Theater and I saw a wonderful production of a George Bernard Shaw play called Heartbreak House.
Oh, it is good.
Which was very pleasant. I had gone to the Abbey Theater 54 years ago and seen the original production of The Birthday Party.
I've never heard of The Birthday
I saw
Tom
Sweeney
Stoppard.
Todd last week.
You saw Sweeney Todd last week?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sweeney.
really?
Is that? You think he was Irish? The demon barber of Fleet Street?
I don't know if he was Irish.
Oh, okay.
I never heard that. Stephen Sondheim didn't tell me that.
Stephen Sondheim is
When
not
I
You have
did-
to do some
Irish.
research.
Stephen Sondheim wrote the show.
He
would
did
have
write
known,
the
yes.
show.
So we got another one in there or not?
Okay, what else
is
you
it?
got?
We had a very interesting thing.
Oh,
there I am.
Oh,
There I am sitting outside of Bunratty Castle like a potentate in a throne at the,
what are those
in the middle of
two
a
things?
traffic circle.
What are those two things that are?
It's actually a ring. It's a claddagh ring.
But those two
Ah.
big things?
Yes, those are the ends of the ring.
So just
So,
so it's not an
that's good.
unsealed ring.
No.
Because if you got stuck between them, it could be.
Yeah, and
messy.
I'm almost big enough to get stuck
Well,
between
no,
them,
I
but
was
it would
just
be
worrying
sad.
about if it closed
Now,
or something.
If we can find one more
Concrete
up here.
just immediately closes.
I went to a place that had Irish music and Irish dancing, and
Were you dancing?
dinner. I
No.
did not dance.
You look
And
like
I
a tap
kept
dancer.
squinting over at the bar in the corner, and I thought I saw something very familiar hanging over the bar, and I couldn't quite figure out what it is because my eyes aren't very good.
Mistletoe.
So I finally got up and
Yeah,
I
there you
walked,
go.
and there it was, a Brookline
Brookline
police
police.
That's
shoulder patch
fabulous.
hanging over the bar about 5 miles outside of Dublin. And after all, Dublin's only another suburb of Boston anyway.
I hope the police are watching this. They'd like that. wouldn't
There it
they?
is in context. There it is hanging over the bar.
Yeah.
This is a place
I don't know if that's appropriate,
owned
though.
and
is it?
operated by
Have
the,
that thing hanging over the
the-
bar.
the Mary
Was it
Plowman,
coffee shop.
a
Maybe,
Celtic music
maybe.
group, the Mary Plowman.
Was that
Thank
the
you
end of
very
our
much,
pictures?
Doug.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Doug.
Thank you,
That's,
Doug.
That's the.
But you didn't show Tel Aviv in there.
That's the.
Oh, okay.
Tel
He
Aviv
didn't
is
go
not
to
in
Israel.
Ireland.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Okay.
And
You
it's
sure?
not my ancestral homeland.
Okay.
You have to go there
They
and
had
come
the
back
mayor
with
of
pictures.
London back in the 50s was a man named Bobby Briscoe.
The mayor of Dublin,
Dublin?
not London.
London. Well, yeah, I was coming
Dublin,
from
London, whatever.
Okay.
There's a town in
Thanks.
Northern Ireland. There's a town in Northern Ireland named Londonderry. And the Protestants called it Londonderry. The Catholics call it Derry.
Derry.
It's the same town. Now in New Hampshire, there's one of each. But there's Londonderry and there's Derry. Our bus driver said Londonderry is the only word in the English language that the first 6 letters are silent,
Good.
which
that's
was
cute.
very good.
All right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, having reprised my trip to Ireland, it is now
Thank you,
time
thank you.
for the BIG Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for this evening. And I have given permission to say that this one is retrieved from the vault.
Deep in the vault. The
Deep.
vault. The vault.
Well, medium depth in the vault.
Vault.
Rochester was sent down. He brought this one
Yeah.
back.
With his bicycle.
And it is entitled Inactive.
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 Let's do something unique tonight.
Why?
Social intercourse isn't necessary.
Use sign language.
Huh, something like that.
I don't like it.
Well, I'm naturally garrulous.
You talk too much.
That's what I said.
How will I know about your week?
You could guess.
So what? We just sit around,
Look at each other.
Make drinks.
eat some popcorn?
Yes.
Boring.
I can do that all by myself.
But group silence.
Should we
is-
fold our hands?
What, like elementary school?
No,
That was long ago.
but standardized testing.
What, you want everybody reading and thinking?
Marking the right answer.
What are you writing a short essay?
Asking questions.
Silence can lead to decay.
What about the restaurant?
Point to your menu choice.
Yeah, let the waiter talk
What if she doesn't?
Just keep breathing.
rhythmically.
What if I feel ill?
Print it on paper.
You're bringing the pad along?
I'll run off some other ideas.
What, on your machine?
Maybe we should just skip our weekly
I know, I'll play some CDs.
while we're sitting and dozing.
We've never done this before.
Yeah, and why should we start today?
Get back to our roots.
What if I snore?
A good nap.
Perhaps we could whisper.
Cell phones.
I see.
Anyways, we're not cable news anchors.
And we don't live on the Gulf.
So quiet time is over.
You could be waiting in your bedroom.
That's an ugly image.
Yeah, I'd be a displaced person.
So we'd leave, evacuate.
And possibly be infected.
We're carrying the plague!
One size fits all. Laugh.
Vulnerabilities.
Are you all right?
Who knows
Your doctor knows.
which one?
You look okay.
That's what.
That's what I told Brad.
Is he in our circle?
Passed away last week.
Suddenly?
He thought so.
But you're here.
So far,
No one lives forever, Michael.
I can walk to an ambulance.
Health plans are going up all the time.
Like gasoline.
Wish I'd bought oil stock.
Then you'd be rich.
I already am.
And your present status?
I'm a pre-positioned asset.
Well, at least the last part sounds right.
But what do you interface with?
Not important. It's all collateral damage
This stuff sounds familiar.
from a presidential news conference.
Did they talk about the war?
They're parading in D.C.
With respect, the killing and the dying goes on.
Our guys, the Iraqis, the Syrians, the Kurds.
You got it.
I don't feel right.
Could it be emotional?
Say, isn't your health club closing?
Yep. The East End Boys and Girls Club.
You belong to the adult group.
Hilarious.
Well, you'll find another place.
I don't want to.
Young people are used to change.
They just want to deal with kids.
Well, it's easier, of course.
It's not about money.
Power politics.
I hate it.
You know, lots of members there walk or take the T.
Great, great.
And we pay a fee for the locker.
You know, the place is almost 100 years old.
Meaningless.
Tradition, spirit, dedication.
So's compassion just a business?
Well, it's a good human interest story.
Sorry, I don't get it.
I guess it's over.
Not enough appeal, I guess.
Maybe quiet is better.
Well, perhaps this time.
Yeah, okay.
Blackout.
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 So was the ending. Okay.
Yeah, we
That's
got
all
there a
right.
little
You just
quicker
skipped
than
you
you
just
just
skipped
skipped
a
a few
couple
lines.
lines,
You
that's all.
know,
Which one,
you,
me or
yeah,
you?
You
No,
did.
you.
You just
Oh,
you're like, let's jump to the end. I'm done with this play.
Okay, good.
But you can. You're the author.
That's right.
Author!
Author!
Bravo,
Author.
bravo.
Auteur.
Auteur. See,
Yeah, okay.
We'll be
Well,
set.
here we go. What do we got left now? Anything? Here's something about education here, big item. Education doesn't deliver on its promise,
That's
Says
not a
here.
surprise.
says here.
it's a rather broad word,
It is. It
education.
just
But
kind
this
of,
is
I don't
but
even
this
know
is
what to say.
education where people spend money because they've been told they can become medical assistants.
Oh.
You know about
They've
that.
been
What you're
marketing
talking
that
about
job
is
hard.
the whole thing of educational programs advertised on late night TV,
Big
like
brochures.
record
Okay.
compilations.
Big
you know.
brochures.
And they're largely set up to capture student loans.
And they get them.
And what they basically give their students is debt.
And they tell
very
them
little
It's just ridiculous.
you can come out after 8-10 months and you get a job for $30,000 up. But according to this article, it's better. It's like 15 or 18 mostly a year.
Sounds about right.
Isn't that
15.
that's less than McDonald's money, right?
Well, that's the
That's
point.
about McDonald's
and
money.
they paid, as he said.
And McDonald's, they don't make you pay for your training.
It's a nasty.
No, they do not.
It's a nasty business. And,
It is a nasty business,
I
but
saw Senator Warren on Bill Maher's show. She was talking
was
about.
Elizabeth taking this on?
Well, she was
I hope
on.
she
All I
does.
can say is she wanted a chance to talk about. I don't know how much time we got left, but
We still have some time.
yeah. Well, but she was talking about student loans and how much
Yeah.
money our government makes from student loans. It's a huge amount. Okay, it's billions.
We make money?
Yes, the federal government on the interest. That's what she was very adamant about, and and everybody applauded this approach. I thought
Okay,
it was good.
I'm out of sync because I thought student loans came from banks and were backed by the government.
Well, the government collects the interest that's paid on these pieces.
I
by the
also thought that
students.
a very high percentage of kids weren't repaying their student loans.
That is true.
Unfortunately, that's a big part of all this too.
So I'd like to see the balance sheet and see if we actually do make
What
money.
she said, if it was less, if the government could cut back on the size of the interest on these loans, maybe these young people would have a better chance of paying some of these things
They
back.
spend half the time paying the interest,
Well, there you
Yeah.
are.
which is just,
Well,
there's
and
nothing more frustrating than not being able to pay down your principal.
Unfortunately, you talk about student loans and you think about the student loans you owe for getting an undergraduate degree at Northeastern or a law degree at Harvard or a communications degree at Emerson or something. But unfortunately, a very high percentage of these student loans are for the bogus programs you talked about before.
Yeah.
At ZBX Tech and auto truck driving school and things like that.
Is it fungi or fungi?
Fungi.
We're going with fungi.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, well, anyways, this fellow in the New York Times wrote an article. He's
Does he think there's a fungus among us?
He might. He might.
That's good, a
That
fungus
was, you know,
among us.
We've been
Very
waiting
good.
for years
Anyways.
to throw that line out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, Michael.
Yeah.
What do you think about the 2024 Olympics in Boston?
It's not going to happen.
Oh, it might. If Steve Wynn thinks so, it might happen.
You're handing the whole state over to Steve Wynn.
Well, he's 1.6 billion. He says.
Not if we vote yes on question 3 and bring an end to the corruption of Massachusetts.
No,
so remember,
thousands
vote
of
yes
jobs are
on
going to
question
be
3.
available out there in that nice town.
Springfield will have better jobs if they just legalize
on the
prostitution.
Mystic River. They got all these,
Oh,
and clean out that
damn.
whole
Better
area.
jobs,
Yeah.
more honorable jobs.
Okay. Now, here's a doctor who's in training. He's going to medical school.
Yes.
And one day he comes out of his classes and he sees mushrooms growing on a tree.
Okay.
And he doesn't know anything about them, whether he can eat them or they're poisonous.
Okay.
And he starts reading about this alternatively from all the courses he's taking and cutting up cadavers and things.
He has time to study mushrooms.
Well, that's what this. Anyways,
That's what they claim.
he said he learned from fungi. He learned a lot. They're so different, that some are poisonous and some are healthy.
Yes.
And they have different colors, different sizes, and everything else. And he matches that up with what he's doing in medicine. It was
Okay.
kind of a nice piece to read.
That
Okay.
sounds complex. What's the gist of it?
And well, it is learning from fungi.
Learning from fungi.
That's the name of the article. It's
Is
pretty
this-
good.
I don't know. Are his
There's gotta be more
are
to
his
this.
professors going to like that title?
That's.
I don't think so.
I can't answer. You always come up with questions like that. I'm not answering that. Anyways, they've been dawdling. The Congress never sets up. Nobody sets up on truck drivers and the courses they take to train, and so many accidents happen on the roads across the country from these big trucks.
Right. And we have laws limiting how much they can drive, and they apparently
If
don't
they have
do
10
it.
hours of experience.
And then we have that
very serious
that
stuff.
comedian who was damaged by a big Walmart truck, and now Walmart's saying, well, he's responsible because he didn't have his seatbelt on.
Well,
They're not going to win that.
Blame the victim
No,
kind of
they're
thing.
not- they'll not win
I think
that.
it's time, Michael.
well, it's serious stuff. And
Michael,
I wish we
hit
had
the
more, but
keyboard.
at least we could bring it up. Good
night, Irene. Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. We'll see you in our dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, everybody. We won't be here next week. Look for the fun show in 2 weeks here at BIG, Brookline Interactive Group.
But did he really tell you we're off next week?
We're really off next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Did Richard sing the Goodnight Irene song?
He did.
He did.
Okay.
Richard
He
sang
did,
it.
in fact.
He held his own,
He said,
okay.
why?